Welcome to JayDoesReviews. I'm Jay, and the review is School of Rock from 2003. Directed by Richard Linklater, School of Rock is a comedy drama starring comedic actor and rock star legend Jack Black. Jack Black plays Dewey Finn, a washed-up rock star looking for money. So, he pretends to be a substitute teacher at a high-end school to make ends meet. But, he discovers that his class is musically gifted, so he turns his class into a rock band in hopes to win the Battle of the Bands to earn more money. Now, this sounds like the perfect setup to an awesome movie. And it was. It actually made $131 million on a $35 million budget. But, with all these years later, does it still hold up? That's what we're discussing today. So before we begin, I do want to address a few things. I actually grew up with this movie and remember enjoying it a lot. But in this review, I hope to see that it still holds up today and not so when I was 8. Also, the soundtrack's awesome. With that out of the way, let's begin with the synopsis. It begins with the standard opening, but we are treated to music from Dewey's band, No Vacancy. I must give proper respect to the way they integrated the credits into the world by having them printed on posters and jackets. Really brings you into the world. Unfortunately, the concert goers don't share my first opinion and think that the band sucks and is a complete joke. And it's represented with this hilarious scene where Jack Black dives into the crowd and everyone dodges him. And it cuts to him next morning, absolutely wasted. He's waken up by Ned and his girlfriend Kathy, who isn't very fond of Dewey. And I can't fathom why. Dewey's perfect. He rocks all night, sleeps all day, doesn't pay rent, doesn't have a job, and... Okay, Kathy's right. To get rid of Dewey, Kathy gives Ned an ultimatum to give Dewey an ultimatum to start paying rent or leave. So, Ned decides to crank out a few gigs, try to win Battle of the Bands in order to pay the rent. But, unfortunately, No Vacancy kicked him out, which, luckily for us, Dewey takes it well.
Dewey, listen to me. You're a good guitar player, but it's the 20-minute solos, it's the stage dives. We're trying to land a record deal here, man, and you're an embarrassment.
Read between the lines, Theo. Read between the lines!
Oh, I got you good, didn't I? But anyway, Jessie the cowgirl herself, aka Joan Cusack, plays Principal Moss, calling the apartment asking for Ned to substitute at a prestigious prep school for $650 a week. So of course, Dewey commits identity theft and pretends to be Ned Schneebly in order to get money. So Dewey gets the idea to exploit his class harder than Macaulay Culkin's dad, and decides to use her talent to win Battle of the Bands. So he tries lying to his class by saying that the band was a secret project that, if they won, would give them a guaranteed scholarship into Harvard. But seeing how these kids' parents are spending $15,000 a year for a higher education, they must certainly have a high intelligence rate to see through Dewey's lie.
The thing is, we're not supposed to get started until next quarter, but I think we should get a leg up on the competition, don't you?
I do.
Who else wants to go for the gold?
I do. I
All right.
You know, I should really start a gotcha counter. So he begins training the kids in the ways of rock and roll, as well as connecting with them. And when they get to the tryouts of Battle of the Bands, they easily pass with flying colors. Luckily, Dewey manages to get them in by claiming that they all have a terminal illness that does not exist, and they decide to celebrate in the best way they can possibly do. Led Zeppelin, baby! I bring this up due to the fact that Jack Black went to Led Zeppelin in concert and begged them to let them use the song because of their strict use of songs in movies.
Hey, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, the gods of rock, and the greatest rock band of all time. We need your song, man. We need the immigrant song. This is a movie about rock, and without that song, this movie will crumble into smithereens. Oh no, the movies kick ass. But dude, your song would be the hard rockin' cherry on the top of the mountain. Please. One time. I just want you one time to repeat after me. Lords of Rock, Led Zeppelin! Grace us with your mighty love!
You really have to admire the respect and dedication that went into this movie. Everything goes swimmingly until Dewey has to give a presentation at its parent-teacher conference. But seeing how he was able to lie to the school, lie to the kids, lie to battle the bands, surely the parents aren't a problem.
You expect us to believe this garbage?
Of course he gets caught. But the kids still want to do the show anyway because of how hard they worked. Even Ned manages to get over his pushy girlfriend and decides to support Dewey. And the parents get to see their kids in action. And they didn't win. It's okay. Because they had fun. And they also got the recognition they deserved, as well as the respect. So let's start talking about the pros and cons of the movie. Pro 1. Jack Black's performance. He easily steals the show every single scene that he's in. All the time. It's incredible. Honestly, incredible. 2. The soundtrack. You cannot have a movie about rock and roll without a good rock and roll soundtrack. Luckily for this movie, they succeed very well. 3. Most of the characters are pretty enjoyable. Besides, I don't know, maybe Kathy, who can be a little pushy, though still completely right about Dewey. Almost every other character is pretty enjoyable. Well, especially Dewey and especially the kids. Wow, the kids are actually really good in this movie. Usually most movies with a kid usually suffers because of the kid's bad performance. Like Jake Lloyd's performance in Phantom Menace and Jingle All the Way. But the fact that they not only got one good kid, but the entire freaking class, you gotta give some respect to that. 4. Speaking of the kids, they actually played their instruments. I'm not joking. They actually played their instruments, showing the extra dedication. They could have easily just dubbed over with some other instruments playing or some other kids playing, but no, they actually decided to put that in. They actually put that effort in, and I commend them. Okay, now we gotta start talking about the cons. Like, how come no one catches on with this? These kids' parents are spending $15,000 a year for higher education. And they can't pick out that this guy is not a teacher. That SNL sketch teacher was a more convincing teacher. I don't know, that's really it. It's just too good of a movie for me to really complain about it that much. So, with this all said, I must say, here, over 20 years later, School of Rock still holds up. And I give this an 8 out of 10. As for now, the review must rest, and we must move on. Hope to see you soon. Take care.